Coming up on TechZilla, make your own job with Kickstarter. WTF is a DOS attack anyhow. Humming subwoofers suck, finding obscure power cables, and more on that burning smell. So grab the peanut butter and your favorite spork, because TechZilla starts now. This episode of TechZilla is brought to you by Gazelle, HostGator, and Netflix. I'm Patrick Norton.
I'm Veronica Belmont.
Welcome to TechZilla, hands-on reviews of the latest tech and how to make the most out of the gear you've already got.
Whether you're a beginner or tech support for your friends and family, if you've got a question about tech or the best way to wean your toddler off of cartoons, we've got an answer for you.
Cold turkey. Actually.
Is that a problem at home right now?
Let's not talk about it. let's
We'll find an expert.
Seamus is not allowed to use the iPad for the remainder of the week.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
iPad overload.
Oh, let's not talk about it. And yes, if we don't know the answer, we'll find someone who does. We should point out to the TechZilla crew, there is no news today. We were pre-taping this episode as we flipped TechZilla from 2 days of post-production, editing where they do lots of stuff in Final Cut Pro to make it all pretty, to live to drive.
Frack it, we'll do it live!
Say that again?
Frack it, we'll do it live!
Yeah.
I had to tweak that one a little bit for our PG audience.
I mean, live to drive here in the studio, which means it should be coming out like the day we shoot or the day after, all fresh and fluffy and stuff.
Like freshly baked bread.
Like donuts.
The scent of TechZilla.
Like Bob Donuts at 1 in the morning.
Yes. Yeah, so no news, basically, is what we're getting at.
Yeah, so basically it's like 2 weeks before we air, the Google Labs Search the Future beta is offline again, so we're going to fire up a couple of questions, a dog pile of questions, if you will, starting with bass, which I'm obsessed with after buying a standard cab truck that had a horribly mangled,
What happened?
I know the 15-year-olds in our audience will correctly wire up their subwoofers. But the subwoofer in my truck was wired by a 16-year-old that didn't understand the difference between, it's just the
I like how in your world the 15-year-old can wire the subwoofers correctly, but the 16-year-old, what, are they too busy thinking about getting their driver's license? They're not quite.
I don't know.
I think the first thing kids think about when they get their driver's license is how best to wire up the subwoofers in their car.
In this case, it was actually funny because it was partially wired correctly, and then it was partially wired horribly wrong, and then the settings were completely wrong.
How hard can it be?
Well, instead of
Cut to scene of Veronica digging through piles of wires behind someone's steering wheel. Yeah.
No, that was I don't want to. Yeah, it was basically like they were powering two 4-amp subwoofers that were wired in series off of a single left channel output instead of. Basically, you know how you monoblock an amplifier, and it's like, use this tab here and this tab here? Yeah, well, they were using these tabs here. So they were sending like 20 watts that was designed for a little tiny 4-inch door speaker
that's just
into
stupid.
2 10-inch subwoofers. It was bad.
Well,
anyhow.
We got an email. Carson in the lovely Rose City, Portland, Oregon writes, "Hey guys, my subwoofer recently developed a bad humming problem. I've tried very hard to fix it, but after many frustrating hours, I'm tempted to just buy a new one. So my question is, have subwoofer sound quality or technology improved over the last 10 years? Would buying a new one be an upgrade or just an overly expensive, easy way out? Love the show, Carson L. in Portland, Oregon."
Well, the downside is a new sub might actually give you the exact same problem. It might be an upgrade, but you might have the dreaded Coax Cable Hum, a ground loop, or it's kind of a variation on a ground loop, which would probably show up all over again with a new subwoofer. Home Theater Hacks, which is a book that came out from O'Reilly, which you can find on the website.
Yeah, it's over at O'Reilly.com. I think you can pick it up pretty much anywhere. We'll assume you've eliminated the basic ground loop hum as a possibility. O'Reilly's Home Theater Hacks has good info on making sure you don't have cable or satellite coax cable hum, O'Reilly.com/pub/Asia. 2441 online, if you can remember that when I tell you. 4241 online would be the URL. Yeah.
It's kind of funny, you fire up a DVD or a Blu-ray or a CD, something that is not your cable or satellite connection, and you have
something local. Yeah.
Something local, right?
Content.
When you can hear the hum. Pause it so you can hear just the hum, then unscrew the satellite or cable coax connector. If the hum stops or drops, then you need to eliminate a ground problem in that cable. There's lots of good info in that Home Theater Hacks article that usually involves calling the cable company, and hopefully you have a clever installer that'll be able to sort of ground something somewhere down the line. Have subwoofers improved?
Yeah, I would say so.
Have they, a lot of it depends. I mean, some more than others, right? Because we don't know what kind of sub you have. I got a 20-year-old set of Paradigm speakers that still sound amazing. They were one of the early ones with an artificial, crazy polymer woofer. I'd stand by an old Velodyne or Shoe research sub, assuming you haven't, say, blown the cone out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If you haven't
that sounds like a much bigger problem than what he's hearing.
Yeah, I would say so, too. Low-cost subwoofers are definitely freaking orders of magnitude better than they were, 10 years ago, 20 years ago. Especially smaller, low-profile subwoofers, especially for cars, like when they reduce the Z, there's some that are delivering amazing performance.
Yeah.
I still can't believe how hard that the KEF T2 subwoofer hits during movie soundtracks. That's a 10-inch subwoofer in a box that's 7 inches deep, and I'm actually rattling windows in my house.
Nice.
Not good for a turn-of-the-century craftsman that I don't own.
Yeah.
A lot of the fancy, like, audiophile revelations, where they're like, we have 4,000% pure oxygen weasels. We use genuine weasels that were, you know what I mean? Like, some of that stuff's legit. Some of that stuff's like complete total marketing fabrication.
Yeah, so right now I would just suggest like checking the cables, making sure everything's grounded properly, and then if that's still not being fixed, once you test it out with local content, then look into maybe purchasing a new subwoofer. They're not that expensive.
No.
I mean, I don't know. Are car subwoofers a lot more expensive than just regular home theater subwoofers?
Well, it depends on what you're doing.
That's one area I don't know very much about.
Well, it's kind of funny, like car subwoofers are one of those areas where you can get completely out of control really quickly, because it's like, oh, I'm going to get a JL Audio stealth box, which looks exactly like it was built into the interior of my car, and all of a sudden it's like $600 for the box. I love Shoe Research. They're actually running a special right now, the VTF 15H, which is a monster subwoofer. If you do not have a big room, you do not need a VTF 15H. But they're doing like some of their smaller ones, the STF2 and the HB1. Where's the SPF? If I could click on a link, I would be useful. They do a pretty good job of explaining what's going on. They do really nice work. Most of their stuff's assembled and I think actually wired, built in the United States. But this is like $319 on sale for a 200-watt, 10-inch subwoofer. In theory, it goes to 25 hertz, but I haven't analyzed where the drop-off is on the curve for that one.
Gotcha.
But it's, they make nice stuff. They have nice kicks, and they're easy to wire in. Nice quality. We love moms and weird power cables. So John's question was a natural. He says, howdy, Techzilla. I'm requesting help for finding a power cord for my elderly mother's new LCD TV. The television uses a 6-foot, 2-conductor polarized power cable. I need something around 15 to 20 feet in length. The nursing home refuses to allow extension cords of any kind or length. I have checked Monoprice and others. No love. Your help would be greatly appreciated. Keep up the great work, John.
Very interesting. So first there was that, hey, go to the electrical department store at Lowe's and homebrew a 20-foot power cable from some heavy gauge extension cord. The problem though is finding a C7P plug to put at the TV end of that cable. I suspect the nursing home will be a tad irritated if you graft an extension cable, even a monster 14 gauge one, all done up nicely with shrink wrap to the cord that came with the LCD TV.
It's kind of funny because like a C7, it's really weird. It's like I can never remember this one, the international, where is IEC 603320, and it's basically like all the connectors you're used to attached to stuff. That's a basic shaver cable, which is like 0.2 amps at the top. The one he's looking for is a C7P, which is a polarized, basically there's a flat size on this puppy right here. And basically it's a 2-amp cable. And I don't think I've ever seen, I went into ridiculous, like, I can find one of these, and I can't find one of these. The closest thing I can find is like Monoprice has non-polarized 18 gauge figure 8-shaped AC power cords.
Yeah, I've seen those around a lot.
Yeah, and they have them up to 15 feet, which is I was kind of pleasantly surprised. The problem is nobody makes the polarized ones, and you're not going to go to Lowe's and find the polarized connectors so you can make your own cable.
Yeah.
So you're probably going to like, okay, so I'm going to go to the wire size calculator, 2 amps, 50 distance, and let's see, calculate. You need like 14 gauge wire. Even to go 20 feet, you're going to need 14 gauge wire.
They do kind of have a good reason why they don't want extension cables floating around the old person's home. I mean, they're worried about fires, of course. They're worried about people tripping. There's so many safety hazards involved with having tons of extra cables in someone's room. People walking around in the dark. It's just, it can get to be a sticky situation.
If you're feeling kind of crazy, you know, you could directly wire a 20-foot power cable into the television so that all of a sudden you show up with a television with a 25-foot cable. Yeah. You know, just don't screw up the wiring, because if you burn down a nursing home, I'm going to feel really guilty. That would be bad. Please don't do it.
Can we in advance wash our hands of that situation?
Yes. We do not.
We do not
want anybody to rewire their television, to open up their television and rewire it, especially if you're in a dorm or a nursing home or a hotel or anywhere there's a large group of people. If you're out in a field by yourself, go nuts, burn yourself to the ground. But for
leave
that's a joke.
the old people alone.
And the students and the children and the dogs. Don't hurt dogs.
But hey, if you have a source for super long polarized dual insulated power cables, email techzilla@revision3.com and we'll let you guys know. And hey, don't get from the.
I'm not gonna say. You know, it's just like
don't burn down.
No bad wiring.
Don't burn it down.
Yeah. Just
all right.
Don't wire that cable yourself.
Well, let's move on into the don't get hacked department. Kelwood emails, in your last show you encouraged people to hop on wireless hotspots whenever possible to avoid data caps. Did we say that? Was that a show I was on?
It was in the context of if you have a cap on your mobile device, I think. Robert Heron was like, I jump on Wi-Fi everywhere.
I see. He goes on to say, I do see your point, and that is a great point, but all they probably heard was log on to wireless hotspots whenever possible. Please mention next time that they shouldn't access any website that isn't HTTPS while on the hotspot. Free Wi-Fi is great, but so many people still don't type in that S in HTTPS, and they're just sitting ducks without it. My company deals with security, and many of our readers and users blog at small coffee shops or malls, and log into their favorite WYSIWYG blog editor over a non-HTTPS connection. Sad face. Spread the word. Kelwood. Yeah, that's for sure. If you see free public Wi-Fi show up on any of your mobile devices, iPads, iPhones...
That's a honeypot, and the person who put it there is going to try to eat your face.
Isn't it? Maybe I'm wrong, but I thought the iPad at least automatically connects you to an HTTPS version of a website if it's available. So that it's adding that extra buffer layer of protection, but just make sure, you know, those honeypots are up to no good.
Yeah, free public Wi-Fi is a scam, generally speaking. I would also say, if you are serious about security, you create a VPN connection that'll run from your notebook to your home or your office network. And that way,
word up. It's time now to thank one of our sponsors, though, Netflix.
With more than 20 million members, including me and Robert and pretty much everybody else that works on Tekzilla, Netflix is the world's largest subscription service. They instantly stream TV episodes and movies right to your home. If you're a member, you can instantly watch thousands of titles on a vast array of devices. We're talking about streaming TV episodes and movies to your Xbox 360, the PS3, the Nintendo Wii, Apple TV, home theater PCs. It's amazing, because if you're a Netflix Unlimited member, you can instantly watch as many movies as you want, anytime you want, for one low monthly price. You got an internet connection, you've got movies, no late fees, no due dates. You got TV shows too. You can watch an entire season. Now, if you're not a Netflix member, you should be. And as a new member, because you're a Tekzilla viewer, you can get a free trial membership. Go to netflix.com/Tekzilla and sign up now. And be sure to use netflix.com/Tekzilla so that they know that we sent you.
Accidental denial of service, Hamal writes in, can anybody mistakenly launch a denial of service attack? How'd a Mafia boy do it? Hamal. So denial of service attack.
I do what I like to call a VDOS, a Veronica denial of service attack. It's a temporary overloading of someone's servers when I retweet them.
You know, basically, but the denial of service attack that you're thinking of is an attempt to deny people, usually customers, access to a particular website, web service, or online resource. You basically slam a target. You saturate a target, a server, with so many requests, it is unable to respond to additional requests, and then it crashes, or more often than not, just runs so slowly because it's trying to process millions of hits. It's like being at a deli counter at the Jersey Shore on July 4th, being behind the deli counter.
Everyone wants the pork roll.
Everybody wants a pork roll.
Gotta get the pork roll sandwiches.
Pounds. And yours wasn't sliced thin enough.
No.
It doesn't matter, even if there's a number thing, you're doomed, because there's 400 cranky people that want 4 pounds of bologna or pork roll. Now. So Wikipedia actually lists like the 5, somewhere in here is the 5 common methods of attack. It's like consumption of computational resources such as bandwidth, disk space, or processor time, disruption of configuration information such as routing information, disruption of state information such as unsolicited resetting TCP sessions, disruption of physical network components, obstructing the communication media between the intended users and the victims so they can no longer communicate adequately. You get the idea. There's others. It's basically figuring out ways to hammer somebody by swamping them. They can be really simple brute force attacks, or they can exploit security flaws. Like some stuff like, somebody's injecting a source in a small bit of the kernel and mayhem happens. And other times it's like, I've rooted 75,000, Windows XP boxes that were never updated, and now I can point them at
Or they take over a bunch of Amazon servers and send them someone's way.
That would be bad. So,
or I tweet something.
PC World did a really nice interview with Mafia Boy.
Right, that was the hacker that was responsible for some monster DOS attacks recently.
Yeah, and they did a nice interview with him, and essentially they described the whole process, because this happened back in like 2000. He hacked into a bunch of university networks. He planted some DOS software and, quote, I love this part, developed a way to remotely train all of his approximately 200 university networks on the same target simultaneously. I don't think mistakenly is a very good word to describe what happened. He did some naughty stuff. He did it intentionally. He was dropping code onto poorly secured networks. Admittedly, you could say it's the network's fault. They weren't properly secured. But basically, he was in a bragging war with another crew on the internet. The mistakenly part is that the attack kind of snowballed beyond what he originally intended. Or as he claims in another interview, he forgot and left Project Revolta, that's Italian for riot, running when he left for school.
Uh-oh.
And hey, Yahoo dropped off the internet, which shocked Mafia Boy. He went, oh, that must have, no, and hey.
That couldn't possibly be me. Oh, wait, yes it was.
Hey, look, it worked on CNN, and it worked on Amazon, and it worked on eBay, and it worked on Dell. And then he got a call, and talked to a lawyer and then politely told his parents what was going on and went to a corner to meet the Royal Canadian Mounted Police, and then spent a long, lonely stint computer-free in a group home and under probation after pleading guilty. On the upside, in terms of computer security, the news that a 15-year-old could bring down one of the biggest websites in the world was a kick in the ass for big companies and universities to start properly securing their networks and taking all possible. Okay, so maybe recent events suggest some companies should have listened harder, and including the United States government, and a lot of people don't understand how to back up, but it wasn't really mistakenly. It wasn't like, somebody went, I went to load up this website and I mistakenly took Google off the internet.
Yeah.
However,
there is the slash dot effect,
the Veronica dotting effect,
the VDOS, if you will. It is possible you can get slash dotted or reddited or farked or digged or twittered or Ashton Kutchered or occasionally
Veronica Belmonted.
When a website gets swamped by users and collapses, it's usually after a breaking news event or someone mentioning it on their Twitter that has a lot of followers, and then it's just basically it's either a bandwidth thing or it's just too many pings at the same time, and the site becomes totally unresponsive.
Yeah,
that always makes me feel bad when that happens.
It's kind of, there's a lot of websites that they get 10,000 users a month, and then all of a sudden 400,000 show up in 5 minutes.
It's not just that. It's not just the sheer number of users, because sometimes I've sent as few as 2,000 people to a link. It's the fact that it all happens at the same time. Like it just gets overloaded. It's that short window of time where all these users are coming in, and it just can't handle that much traffic in that small window. I think that's really what's happening in that kind of situation. Well, there's more Techzilla coming right up, but before we do that,
place to launch a blog or a website, frustrated with customer support or the lack thereof at your current hosting provider, you need to check out HostGator. Get up and running in minutes with plans starting at just $4.95 a month. You get top-rated 24/7 customer support, access to tools including a website builder with over 4,000 templates, and HostGator, they'll even migrate your current site for free. The servers at HostGator, 130% powered by wind energy. We're talking about completely green web hosting, unlimited disk space, unlimited bandwidth, and a 45-day money-back guarantee, and $100 in Google AdWords credit to market your website. Right now, we got a deal for you. If you're a Revision 3 viewer, HostGator is offering 25% off your order or your first month free. Go to HostGator.com and enter the code TechZillaHD at checkout to get your discount.
looks like it's time for another website we just can't get enough of. A website that we just can't stay away from because it's too useful, too funny, or just too darn irresistible. This week's pick, Inventibles. Inventibles, as the site says, is the inventor's hardware store. Here you can find the tools and supplies needed to make your next gadget, gizmo, or invention come to life. Here's how it works. First, you come up with an idea. I'm not going to bother to actually do that part.
I want to make a widget.
Because that's the hardest part. That's the one you really have to spend some time with. Then head over to Inventibles and browse the different product categories, as you can see up here at the top, to find what you're looking for. Let's check out the electrical section and go down to illumination. And you can find things like, we've got some powerless illuminating tubing, we've got some powerless illuminating polymer ribbon, we've got some fiber optic backlit. Words I don't say that often. And then we've got some ultra bright LEDs. Let's take a look at those. I think we could probably find a lot of uses for these puppies. Yeah, you could be making clothes for your Halloween Tron costume, for example. That's one reason you might need all of these illumination tools. If you're curious about how something works or how you might be able to use it, you want to click on the item and then look for the applications section. That's right down here. You can see existing uses, you can see what people are currently doing, some household design, some gaming machines, which is really cool. It's just good ways of thinking of other ideas for integrating it into your own work. There are also some more details underneath, like what's unique about this item for product developers, what industries in this item typically used in, and then some examples currently or formerly on the market that make use of this. Seriously, this is just an awesome way to see what possibilities are out there. You can get your creative juices flowing by browsing Inventibles today. And thanks to LNW on Formspring for the very, very cool suggestion. So, a few shows back, we talked about a former intern who, with a couple of friends, started a Kickstarter project based on their awesome phone stand, the Oona. In just a short time, they've raised over 1,000% of their goal and became the 8th most backed Kickstarter project ever, and the 12th most funded Kickstarter project of all time. And here to tell us more about his experience is Danny Fukuba. Welcome to the show, Danny.
Thanks, it's great to be here.
And welcome back to Revision 3.
I know, it's good to be home.
You've come so far since your days as an intern here. It's
grown up slightly.
Grown up slightly, yes. You're all of what, like 20 now?
Yes.
Jeez. Anyway, so how did the whole Oona thing start? How did you guys plan this device?
It was kind of just on the fly. My buddies and I have been itching to make a product for a while, and we really want to be designers and design some kind of product that people want and people use. So we were tossing around some ideas. We thought we'd do some camera gear where we'd actually do a dolly for your iPhone or make a small crane for your iPhone, and we're trying to figure out a good, very elegant way to hold on to the phone without it being specific for one device. So we decided to go with a suction cup, and we're playing around with it, doing some tests, and it actually turned out to hold very well, and we thought this could actually be a stand too. So we made that prototype, tried it around different positions, used it for, it has a core 20 threads, so you can put it on a tripod and take film with it, and then it has a base that attaches, which then you could leave next to your desk while you're on your computer and have a really good face of your phone viewed towards you, so you can be texting and then just toss it down and it just stands there nicely. And the idea is we want to make it very small so it looks like it's just floating. So we came with that, we thought it looked awesome, and thought we should go ahead and post it on Kickstarter.
So yeah, how did you choose Kickstarter?
Well, Kickstarter it's a very less risky way to pursue funding, because if we were to go and raise $10,000 or $20,000 from friends and family, make the parts, and then try to sell them, we're not sure if people want to buy them. So what we could do on Kickstarter is actually post our video, our story that we're trying to tell, like what we're trying to do with this, and get people interested. And through that, people then will place a pre-order. And then we could judge how many we actually need to make from that. And then what's also nice is that it's helping you kickstart this project. So instead of raising the funds and then see how it works, you see how it works, and then you raise the funds and get the money sent to you, and you can set up production afterwards. And it gives you a little bit more time to figure things out, so you don't necessarily need to have the most well thought out, rigorous plan beforehand.
And what were your experiences with Kickstarter?
They've been pretty good. What's nice is Kickstarter is really popular right now, so just it being on there gave a lot of attention. And there's been a lot of other successful, really cool projects that's done really well. So we kind of piggybacked off that. They do take a cut, 5% cut from everything you raise, which in the long run is worth it if you want to not set up the tooling beforehand, like I was saying. And it was just really de-risk a lot of things for us, so we can just see if people actually do want to buy it before we go.
So for someone who had never used it before, you found it relatively easy to set up and get started with and kind of put your whole project out there right away?
Yeah, you can put whatever you want on there. It depends on how much time you want to spend on which part. So we want to spend a lot of time on the video. We want people to really understand what we're trying to do and then sell it nicely. So we wanted to show them how useful this actually is and how what the design is actually like and how it's used. But as far as posting on there, you can say you need $50 to go get lunch tonight with your friends and post a Kickstarter project. So it's pretty simple and straightforward.
So I heard that you have 3,800 orders in right now.
Yes.
How are you going to get the resources to do that kind of order filling?
So to manufacture them is the first step. So
Yeah.
we were making them one-off in our shop on our CNC mill, which worked great for doing prototyping because we can quickly turn them out in a couple hours. But if we want to make 4,000 of them or 5,000, it's pretty tedious to do it yourself. So the first step was to find a CM, or a contract manufacturer. And what we used to go to find that was this website, mfg.com. From there, you can post your drawings, what the parts you want to make are, detailed specs for assembly, packaging, all of that, and then people will actually bid on your project. So through there, we were able to find our CM, which is a firm in Maryland that actually has factories overseas as well. So that helped out a lot for getting these made, or helping out right now getting these made. So instead of us needing to sit at our shop for weeks at a time, manufacturing, pumping one by one off, we can actually get an assembly line set up and full tooling to pump these out.
And now that you're done with Kickstarter, what's the next step for you in terms of taking orders and kind of fulfilling that end of the customer part?
Well, the big thing is we didn't think it would get this much attention off Kickstarter. We thought it would be, we'd get 500 orders or so, we'd have fun with it, we'd really kind of send them out and just have something to talk about. But now that we've seen it's gotten a lot of attention, it's really popular, we're trying to figure out what we're actually want to do for distribution afterwards, because that's a big step that's different from making your product, putting it on eBay and selling it, and then actually wanting it to be on the shelves at stores or brick and mortar stores and things like that. So we have been approached by a couple online retailers that want to sell it, but we're holding off on making any deals with anyone and trying to figure out if we want to go with a manufacturer's rep or an actual just distributor to actually inventory and stock all of these and then send them to a place like buy.com or Newegg. So it's very new to us, and we're trying to figure that out right now, but we're trying to see what we can do as far as distribution and actually get it to the point where we place an order for 20,000, send them to a warehouse, and then from there they ship it out to retailers. And that would be the best situation for us, that we're doing less work and then we're pumping out more volume.
Would you recommend Kickstarter to people looking to start a project like yours?
Definitely would. It all depends on what you're trying to do. If you have an invention that you want to get made, Kickstarter might not be the best way because you disclose a lot of information about what you're trying to do.
True. And
then also the funding isn't necessarily as high as you would need for something that you eventually want to get venture backed or something. So it depends on what you want to do. If you want to do a fun little project like this on the side, it's perfect and it makes it easy. There's a lot of attention on there, so you get a lot of views, and it's just a very simple path. But if you're going to try to do something very elaborate and intense, I'd say go for VC funding, make a business plan, do all that.
What I love about this, it's so simple. Like, it's the kind of thing where you're like, I really wish I'd come up with this idea, and you're that guy who came up with that idea. So more power to you, and thank you so much for coming on the show.
Definitely, it's awesome.
And continued success with the Oona.
Thank you very much.
All right, well, it's time to thank one of our sponsors, Gazelle.
Gazelle, people, it's a great way to turn your old electronics into cash for new toys or anything you want. They accept more than 300,000 products from over 20 different electronics categories. Shipping is free on all items of value, and in most cases, they'll even send you a box to ship with. Also, for the green folks out there, Gazelle makes all their recycling partners adhere to some strict policies. No exports, no landfills, and tons of data security standards. Gazelle is a great way to get cash to upgrade to the latest iPhone or Android phone. Check it out now at Gazelle.com. And we want to thank Gazelle for sponsoring Tekzilla.
All right, well, we had plenty of responses to the question that we had about what to do with the burnt smell emanating from a viewer's PC, and frankly, most of his other electronic equipment. VPS358 in Finland writes, "Hi Tekzilla staff, Robert, Patrick, Veronica, and others. I think best is to contact professional fire renovation company in your area and ask prize for ozone treatment for the smelly equipment or for burned space. Ozone treatment is a powerful way to eliminate unwanted odors, microbes, or anything nasty easily and effectively. Although ozone is toxic in large concentrations, it is very safe and fast, and it's widely used on sanitation purposes. It kills everything, even MRSA. This is all from VPS358 in Finland. And then we had one from Owen in Westport, Connecticut, who follows with, "I saw the past episode where Patrick was giving advice about getting smoke smell out of computer parts. I wanted to recommend a product called What Odor. It's an amazing product to get terrible smells out of your roommate's cigarette smells, for example. Even High Times magazine said it's very good at getting a certain type of smoke smell out as well. The show is great, and Veronica is a hottie. Thanks. Also, is there any way you guys can get me on the Revision 3 street team? Owen in Westport, Connecticut. I've spent some time in Westport, Connecticut.
You have.
It's a very nice area.
I take your word for it.
All right. So thanks for the advice. I also asked this question on Gadget, and I got a few more responses as well, like this one from CK Sample that said, if you have access to a meat locker, you could try freezing all the disparate parts. That typically removes some smells. And also user Logic Slayer suggested maybe put a dryer sheet in the air intake. Interesting. Interesting theories. I don't know if you could freeze your whole maybe just the case.
I think you may end up creating more problems by all of the moisture from the walk-in freezer getting into everything inside the PC.
It's a good trick for like jackets or jeans that have smells on them, though.
I'm actually kind of, I can't find out what odor is supposed to do, so I'm kind of tempted at whatproducts.com to purchase some and try it out.
Interesting.
So it's the potential Febreze. Anytime you got a testimonial from somebody with a cat with medical problems.
Yes, always good. Oh, but Owen also asked about the Revision 3 Street Team. You need to visit revision3.com/street team and make a video of your own on why you need to be a Revision 3 ambassador. And if you want, please refer this episode to fill out the credentials. We sent you their way.
As a contributor to Revision 3's program, Techzilla, you just started out that way.
Yeah, totally. And finally, we have this question from Aaron. I'm looking for something to access my files from an external hard drive remotely, which is connected to a Windows Vista PC, either on my internal Wi-Fi network or accessible from university. Is this possible? I've seen a file server from FileZilla, however, I'm a little confused in the networking department. If you can assist, it would be greatly appreciated. A note, I would be trying to access them on my MacBook Pro, so compatibility of software may be an issue. Regards, Aaron in Sydney, Australia. Oh, hello, my little friend. Look, it is a pogo plug. This would be a good answer for you, and you don't even need this whole device anymore. This is the networkable USB device where you could plug in an external hard drive and then interface with your computer wherever you are with your iPhone, whatever device that has a pogo plug app. But you no longer need this in order to have similar functionality. Pogo plug has separate software now that you can run on Windows, Mac, or Linux, and then you can, as long as the machine's on, as long as the computer itself is on, you'll be able to access those files over Pogo Plug servers. So you can get those files from anywhere. Anything else that's running the software, you can even send out direct links to files the way you would from Dropbox. Dropbox, of course, is another suggestion that I would make, and also SugarSync. We've done lots of how-tos on both of those services that you can find if you go over to Techzilla.com and search for them. You'll find, we even did one about encrypting files before uploading them to Dropbox, so you don't have to worry about security anymore. So yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of, actually I was kind of amazed because like Pogo Plug free software is basically file sharing. The premium software basically lets you access photos, stream music and videos to your cell phone, stream your Xbox 360, your PlayStation 3, and then of course the Pogo Plug is there always on.
Right. So if you have a laptop at home and you don't have a PC that's running all the time for some reason, then you might want to consider getting this device and getting the Pro account and then having access to all those resources, especially if you do want to do something where you want to access your music from home while you're over at university, for example.
Or if you think your mom or dad might turn off your computer while you're at college for the semester. Hey, you got a question for us, whether it's traveling with tech, whether it's, hey, are you thinking about buying a computer for school? Is your tech on fire? Is it filled with smoke? You just got an urgent question about what headphones to buy. Tech, we want your questions. Send them in, Techzilla at revision3.com. That's the email address. Or you can post it on our Facebook page at facebook.com/Techzilla.
And of course, we're also on YouTube at youtube.com/TechHD and on Twitter at Techzilla, at Robert Heron, at Patrick Norton, and at Veronica. That's me. Thank you guys so much for watching.
I'm Patrick Norton.
I'm Veronica Belmont.
Until next time, you've been watching Techzilla.